What's up, guys? Just here by my channel. Tonight I'll be doing a review for Aew Dynamite. So, beach break. So let's get to it then. With the first match, Will Ospreay, him and Page versus Josh Alexander and Kazushi Takeshita. As Skybar, Aew Riccaboni, and Taz welcome us to the show as Will Ospreay's Team Zero Assassin match. He dies down to Page and stuff. The tension between Ospreay and Page is evident before the match even starts. After they sell inside a square circle, the music for their position. Last week, yeah, hold on, guys. I'm trying to skip the thing over here. I was trying to skip the entrances and stuff. So, anyways, Taz immediately begins breaking Kyle's balls as soon as he sits down and works on getting his headset microphone on. Kick things out, respect team as the bell get things officially off and running. Ospreay and Takeshita lock up, and Takeshita is sent to the ropes only to then take Will down with a shoulder tackle. Ospreay is up, and both men hit the ropes looking for the Avengers, with Kenoshi falling into the mat thanks to a strike from Ospreay. Tag made to Alexander as the crowd gets on Cal's case with a negative chance. Ospreay Ospreay is less eager. To tag Page at first, and this costs him as Josh keeps him isolated, sending Ospreay back to the Don Callis family's corner instead as Alexander stays on the attack. Before Kimoshi tags in for a double team and then goes after Page to keep the ref distracted as Josh lays in more punishment. Alexander goes out as Takeshita continues the beat down, only for Ospreay to finally get the tag to Heyman, and he keeps Alexander at bay with the moonsault off the apron before getting back in the ring to hit a Philly driver for a 2 count. He sends Takeshita to the corner for a lariat and a snapmare. Takeshita gets back up, and the two begin trading strikes and back and forth. Heyman sit out powerbomb and then goes for a cover, getting a 2 count. Page is hesitant on the tag, but does so, allowing Ospreay to lay into Takeshita with some kicks. The two stare each other down before Page gets a tag to come back in. Come on. Now you guys, it's the scrolling thing. Alexander helps Takeshita throw Ospreay out to the floor. Page is popped up on the apron, taking a crossbody from Alexander before Takeshita hits a dive onto both his opponents to send them to the ringside area with authority. On that note, the show shifts gears head to mid-match commercial break. When the show returns, Alexander's in comfortable offensive lead over Heyman, taking hit to him with a relative ease and a slow, methodic fashion. Heyman springs to life out of nowhere and tries slugging it out with Alexander, but the walking weapon drops down and secures a standing ankle lock. Heyman tries crawling into his corner. He gets himself free and makes a much needed tag to Ospreay. Ospreay hits the tag off of the hot tag with a ton of energy, and mainly taking it to Alexander. Takeshita hits the ring um, to a double team Ospreay with the Alexander, but Ospreay handles them both. He knocks Takeshita out of the ring and plants Alexander for a close 2 count. After some more backward action, Ospreay seems to be setting up for a hidden blade to finish things off when Heyman abruptly tags himself, and out of nowhere, Ospreay didn't like that. Regardless, moments later, Heyman and Ospreay hit a buckshot lariat and a hidden blade combo for the finisher for the win. So winners are Will Ospreay and Heyman Page. All right, top fighting and stuff. Talk about Dustin Rhodes. Backstage, Top Flight goes off on MJF as he tagged them last week before turning their attention to Dustin. Dustin gives them props as he and Sammy Guevara say they'll be watching. So second match come out, Zach Gowen versus Ricochet. We return inside the ring where appearance on Ricochet. Zach Gowen makes his way out and using crutches. The bell sounds official overrunning. With this one, Ricochet starts to mock Gwen, who sets a base up for himself, calling Ricochet to meet him on the ground. Zach's unique manner of movement trips Ricochet out to where he leaves the ring, refusing to get into it, only to find himself in range of a dive by Gwen to send him to the floor. Alright, oh shit, come on. Gohan gets a Ricochet and a side headlock, smacking him on the head as a measure of revenge before getting a high five with his son. But this only gives Ricochet an opening. He sends Gohan into the barricade and to the floor. On that note, the show shifts gears and sells into a mid-match commercial break as the action continues. When the show returns, Ricochet has brought Gohan back into the ring and goes up for a 450 splash. But Gohan gets out of the way, forcing him to outside. Instead, Gwen is on the ropes as Ricochet tries to go for the attack and gets hung up on his little bullets. Instead, Gwen gets to a standing position in the corner. Ricochet lays in some strikes to knock him down. 450 splash connects for the cover, but Gwen kicks out. Ricochet takes him down again for a shooting star press, but Gwen manages to kick out of the following pin until Ricochet is frustrated as he hits Zack with a vertical, but even that's not enough to keep Gwen down. Ricochet leaves the ring to get something. Ricochet grabs his scissors, but the ref pulls them away as he goes to get them put away. Gwen grabs his prosthetic leg to hit a boot on Ricochet. This gets him a 2 count as he goes for top goes up top for a moonsault. Ricochet rolls out of the way, and he then hits Spirit Gun for the pinfall victory. He hits another one after the match, but is run off by Mark Briscoe. So winner is Ricochet. All right, next match, third match, the Hurt Syndicate versus Top Flight. Batch A is hurt, blah blah blah. On his own MVP until the Predator joins him in the ring. Hurt Syndicate made the way we had to the next match. Dual Top Flight in the ring, then get away, and so things official running. Championship goes after both Darius Martin and Dante, but they get the advantage on him, keeping Bobby Lashley away from a tag before Dante hits a dive that is followed by Darius Tope. Back in the ring, Darius hits a sling blade and Dante gets a frog splash for for a 2 count. Lashley goes after him before making the tag, sending Darius to the corner for some more hurt and near fall tag made back to Benjamin, who hits a release German suplex, laying in some more punishment for a tag. Lashley as Dante tags in only to be laid out by the Almighty. Benjamin killers Darius away from the ring. On that note, Lashley locks in the Hurt lock on Dante, and Dante goes out. The referee calls it. The Hurt Syndicate picks up the quick and easy victory. As soon as the match wraps up, we move on to some other business and not the MGF business yet. So winners are the Hurt Syndicate. Alright, we have a segment coming up with the Hurt Syndicate because MGF is answer. At the match, the beatdown continues on Dante until Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara comes out to put a stop to it, running them down before issuing a potential challenge for the AEW tag titles. This is interrupted by the arrival of Crew with Action Andre running the ROH tag champions. The crowd is telling them to shut up as Leo Rush addresses the champions in the ring. Crew wants a shot at the titles, but Dawson tells them they're not going to cut in line. The confrontation is interrupted by MVP telling them they can fight. He then gets on the microphone and says he's got other business to attend to. He mentions the producer off camera giving him the 30-second cue to a commercial break. He tells the crowd in attendance and the viewing audience at home to stick around because when we return, MJF is going to get what he asked for. The show has to a commercial break. On that note, when the show returns, MVP says once again MJF asks for what it's about. He says it's time. He tells MJF to get his ass out here. His music hits, but no one comes out. MVP tells Shelton to go find him and bring his ass to the ring. Shelton runs off to look for him. He notices him in the crowd. And Jeff says he was just looking. Actually, no, he was not in the crowd. He was backstage, behind Tony Khan and stuff. Anyways, MJF said he was looking all over for them. MJF says, "Come with him." He says, "Great idea." He says he was going to suggest that MJF and Shelton join MVP and Lashley in the ring. It's time for the latest thumbs up / thumbs down vote. Benjamin once again gives a thumbs up. Lashley heads over and Big Brother's MJF putting his arm around his neck and pulling him in close. And beside him, he takes his other hand and holds it out to his side with his thumb in the middle. He teases it going down and then going up and then back down again. As Benjamin positions himself behind MJF for a super kick, Lashley then surprises everyone by giving the thumbs up. MJF runs around chanting, "We heard people, we heard people." MJF announces that next week will be the official ceremony for MJF joining the Hurt Syndicate. The best theme in the business plays for the second time this evening as MJF joins his new pals as they leave the ring and head to the back together. We head to an commercial break. All right, fourth match coming up: AEW Women's AEW Women's World Champion. Eliminator times Tony Storm, who's a champion, versus Mia Shakira versus Skyview versus AZM. When the show returns, without hesitation, we head ringside about makes way. AZM makes way out, blah blah. Bell. Okay, so here you go. The bell sounds official are running with the high stakes showdown. Mina charges after AZM to pick up where they left off at Resurgence, while Storm and Sky fight to outside. Mina gets a near fall before AZM fights back, catching Mina with a crucifix pin for a 2 count. The two head up fighting to outside as Mina hits a DT, sending AZM to the floor as Blue and Tony make their way back to the ring. Sky hits a DT off the ropes on Storm, but is met with an attack from AZM before the two trade strikes. They both hit the ropes but are tripped up by Storm and Mina, who entered the ring to face off. Alright, come on. AZM and Sky entered the ring, and all four women go at it with Mina and Storm getting the upper hand respectively. They face off once more, trading strikes. After some more back and forth action, we see a few high spots from the ring to the floor, culminating with Sky Blue fully testing out her surgically repaired ankle as she hits a big dive of her own. Although the show heads to Gears mid-match commercial break. As the action continues, when the show returns, we see more back-forward action, which each participant getting a chance to shine and spotlight a bit before ultimately Shirakawa rolls up Storm for the win. With the win, Shirakawa earns the next shot at Storm's AEW Women's World Championship at AEW Dome. Now to intensify once the match wraps up. Storm and Shirakawa have a stare down in the ring as things are wrapping up. We see Mercedes Moné come out of nowhere to attack AZM. She locks her in her statement maker, but then Jamie Hare comes out and beats her down and leaves Moné laying. Moné eventually gets back up, and a ton of officials rush out to keep the two separated. As Kyra promotes Hayter versus Moné in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Finals at AEW Darby Now 2005. So winner and new AEW Women's World Championship challenger Mina Shirakawa. Alright, Task is choked up with Sabu and stuff. They're all wrestled with shoot to commentary test, whereas Kyra mentions Sabu's passing. Sabu's theme plays in the background as various images from his legendary career are shown on the broadcast. It wraps up with a memory of graphic for Sabu as he theme continues. From there, we should commentary desk where Scabbard. Okay, so microphone. He then turns the microphone over to Taz. Taz prefaces by saying he's going to do his best to go through his Taz. Then began talking about Sabu as a man and as a pro wrestler. He gives them all the praise in the world. As he begins getting choked up, he doesn't hide from the emotions, but rather takes the glasses off to show them to the world. He tells, if I want to get choked up already, he tells Sabu he's going to miss him, a line he barely got out without fully breaking. He finishes by pointing up to the sky. Like Sabu, we had to encourage on that note. Classy stuff from Taz and No W. Very cool tribute. Oh man. Ooh man. If I want to choke, I'm kind of choking up right now. Alright, MJF backstage stuff about the Hurt Syndicate about next week. And MJF got a lawyer with Smart Sterling and stuff, blah blah. And see what happens next week. Alright, so we have a little segment. Now we shoot to the ring. We hear Tony Schiavone. Nigel begins with Nigel apologizes to Tony for his actions at Collision. He offers an apology to Dan Garcia as well as the latter makes his way to the ring. We look back when it went down last Thursday. Nigel apologizes to Garcia, meaning his place is at the announce table and not inside the ring. But Garcia says he can keep his posture to himself. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. FTR disrespected him, and he stood up for himself. FTR had tried to end the career of Garcia and Copeland, and perhaps Nigel as well. He's going to fight these guys with or without Nigel, but it would be an honor if he would stand back beside him and fight FTR. This brings out Big Stoke brawling Daniel and Nigel down with FTR not here tonight, as he says Nigel's actions were egregious or something. He asks Nigel what his problem is. Nigel says when someone puts their hands on him, he puts his hands on them. Stoke mocks his fake apology before telling Nigel there are consequences for his actions. After is Stoke talked it over, and Nigel's punishment should be getting in the ring with the greatest tag team alive in the official match. He says this way they wouldn't have to be suspended for what they'll do to him. Nigel knows they'll like killing, so initially turns down wrestling, but Garcia talks about seeing Nigel overcoming the odds his entire career. Still continues to poke the bear. Excuse me, as he talks about Nigel being the Al Bundy of AEW, trying to relive his glory days. There's no way Nigel can beat FTR. He could barely beat Hepatitis. That's so fucked up. This causes Nigel to drop the mic, possibly looking to square up with Big Stoke. But FTR blindsided him and Garcia instead. They start beat him until Danny Magic Mamadar runs to the ring for the save. Alright, Mamadar heading down forces and FTR and Stoke to regroup up the ramp. Dax Tower tears a pro FTR sign from a random fan in the crowd. Out of frustration, the commentators high AW Collision Beach Break returning to its normal day and time slot this week. We head to another commercial break. Alright, main event coming up finally. AEW World Championship Steel Cage match. Don Moxley, who was a champion, versus Samoa Joe. Main event time when the show returns. Cage is lower down, so Samoa Joe makes his way, and Mox enters the ring. Oh, shit, come on. Makes his way to the corner. Mox enters the ring, and Shibira holds over the ground long before his main event gets on. The pair circle around cans before at each other, but the challenger find over the corner before sending Mox into the wall. Joe does it again, and we see the champ is worn down already, allowing Joe to continue the beatdown. Back in the corner, as Mox fights back with some chops before Joe forces him to the corner once more for some stomps and running boot to the face. We then see Joe take the champ to the mat for a 2 count before Mox fights him off in the corner to take control. He goes after the leg of Joe now, setting up for a stomp on it before cinching and a figure 4 leg lock. Joe is struggling to break free, turning over to reverse the pressure before forcing a break. Well, that's so stupid for a steel cage match. A rope break, fucking dumb. Mox catches the challenger with a big boot to take control of the match. As soon as they stand up on the note, show his gears main match control break himself. As its highest state main event title continues, where the annual beach break edition of Aew Dynamite. The show returns, and the first thing we see is Joe and Mox both covered in blood. They begin trading shots back and forth. We notice the Dead Riders, Will and Nightingale, and Powerhouse House are at ringside, keeping an eye on things. Mox takes control before heading to the corner, looking to escape before Joe sends him down with an atomic drop twice over Samoa Joe. Senton by Joe gets him a 2 count before the champ kicks out. Mox escapes to the ropes to stop Joe's momentum, only for the challenger to intercept in the corner. Mox takes a bit of Joe before hopping to the mat, only to take a chop by the challenger. Mox fights back with some strikes before Joe hits a boot, and Mox responds with a cutter for a cover. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. And the 2 count. Mox looks for a cross arm breaker, but Joe claps his arms to fight it off. Mox goes for a bulldog choke. He cranks away as it was Joe's Joe begins fading. The referee checks his arm once it drops, twice, twice it drops. But the third check, he keeps the arm up. He fights his way back, but Mox hits him with the paradigm shift. He immediately goes for the cover, but somehow Joe kicks out. Mox pops right up and grabs the referee and complains. As the action continues, Claudio Castagnoli begins climbing the cage. He is stopped by Haas. All of the Dead Riders and Babyface at ringside mentioned earlier to start to break out into the chaos and the confusion. Someone with a hoodie on runs to ringside and hands mock something. He lays out Joe and scores a pin for the win to retain. So winner is still AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. Damn. All right. Once the match wraps up, we see the main event. The man in a hoodie. He is revealed to New Japan Pro Wrestling stand out. Gabe Kim, the Young Bucks theme music hits, and out comes Matthew and Nicholas Jackson looking pleased with themselves before they get to Anthony Howard. The theme for Kenny Omega hits a cleaner sprints out from the back to enormous pop. He hits a running knee to someone on the ring as he gets to the cage and close in ring. Howard, the heels outnumber him and proceed to beat the living crap out of him for several moments. Eventually, Short Strickland's theme hits. We hear the Chicago crowd explode as Swerve makes his way out with Prince Nana. He runs down and quickly scales the cage wall, climbing up to the top and leaping off with a huge swerve, stomp onto a giant pile of bodies in the corner. He gets on a microphone and mentions how Annie and his peers in the ring and the people they just dealt with are going to be in the anarchy in the arena at AW Dover Nothing Treasure Fight. That's how the show goes there, blah blah. Okay, so anyways, good show tonight, kinda good. Yeah. So sorry about that. My camera froze and stuff. So yeah, anyways, good show, kinda good, it's alright, but Monday Night Raw did a little better job, so anyways, it was okay, but man, I was hurt. I think Moxie can hurry up lose that bell, man. It's getting my fucking nerves. And so anyways, that was the first video. Hope you like it, not whatever stuff. So like, subscribe, hit the button, leave a comment. Hey guys, want to leave a comment stuff? I don't care what you guys do. And that was it. And I'll see you guys this Friday night for Friday Night SmackDown. All right, laters.